is the moon, which is the mother, and the star, correct?
Islam.
Yeah.
Islam.
I can't read that.
Islam.
All right, Islam, fine. That's the I in Islam. Because you come, this is the womb, and you hanging from the womb. Right here. Creating the I, self, I, coming from your mother. And then we have self. And this was going to bring to a realization here about what this pyramid really is. Self is represented by a pyramid. You can see that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, great. That's the pyramid. That's the I. I mean, that's the self. Because each one of us is a trinity of sun, moon, and your sun sign, which is your characteristics, your moon sign, which is who you really are, and your rising sign is how you present yourself. That's not necessarily who you are in terms of the energies that created you, and we're using the symbology of these signs to describe that, or the energies of the sign. So this is the symbol of civilization because of the reason I just gave you. Not because it belonged to some group that said they were the Illuminati, although Illuminati means illuminated ones. It's because it's the symbol of civilization of each and every one of us. This is why it's also on that reserve note, on that contract, if you will. That's the symbol of civilization. That's the symbol of you. And that's why they use it. Sun, moon, and star, your trinity. All right? Thank you. And then, pick these up. Law. So are we following? I, self, law. We're spelling out Islam, right?
Right.
Yes.
All right. Law. Compass in the square, right? That's the law. You must square up your conduct. I mean, put a circle around your passions and square up your conduct. And I'm going to go back to that because that's chapter 5.
Right.
Because you are the law. And everything you create is within the law, whether you are aware of it or not. And that's why when we talk of these principles, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, love is always the first principle. And after love, you have truth. So how do you know the gauge? If you did not find truth, you did not find love. And after truth, we have peace. If you have found love and you have found truth, you have found peace. And then the inherent chaser to that is freedom. So if you have love, you have truth, you have peace, you have freedom. That's all you need, because remember, the truth is the life. So love, truth, peace, freedom, and then there's justice. Now the justice is based on the law of what you do, what you say, everything that comes out of your mouth, everything that you do or don't do. It matters not, because justice is going on at all times. And that's why you're here to learn lessons, and some of us, we come back to learn those lessons. Because we're all striving to be better Muslims. We know that Muslim is a fetus. It's not necessarily a religious choice. It's a fetus, muscles and limbs and tissue. So we have justice being determined by the major planet Saturn, which we call Chronos. It's a matter of time, your time, and in your time. They call him the darkness. Well, what it is that your contributions, what you contribute, if you contribute, you will get retribution or retribution, justice for it. So you must be within the bounds of law with everything that you do. And then you begin to realize why this is a divine and national movement, because you're not going to reach some of the points that you want to make, even in law and dealing with enforcement, law enforcement, and other corporations that are scheming as having authority over you, unless you have and you understand the divinity of it all, because you are the law. And we have Am. Now the reason why Am has two trinities is because it takes two Am, it takes two trinities, the Father, the Mother, to create another I Am. This is the masculine and feminine energies coming together. Now I know that people say that that's the star of, well, it is Star David, or they say that it's a Jewish star, and it's not. It is what it is. It's two I Ams, two beings coming together, creating another I Am. And lastly, do I have the last one? Is this. Now you may see this, especially if you're involved in the sonic orders. Pseudo. That's a circle with a cross in it. That's the master. Now, that's actually the glyph of the earth, which you're traversing on. That's what it is. So I, with self-law, am master of this earth plane that I traverse on. Master Zero. And that's why you find a lot of people using this in different organizations, associations, etc. They use this master seal. I wanted to do this to spell out what Islam is, I self-law master, and how all of the things that we talk about and that we read in the 101s and in different literatures, Moorish literature, means that you are the law and that you are master of self. And that's what Islam is. I, self-law, and master. The last thing that the next thing that I want to do here is explain. It's very important to understand chapter 5, because all of this that's being said, it's like, well, how do I get there? Well, Prophet Ali did say to learn of your higher and lower selves, which is plural. And so you would use chapter 5 has in it the tools. And some of the things that I put up were showing tools. And we all know that Joshua was a carpenter. And then in chapter 5, he mentions how the tools that he's using reminds him of the ones that we handle in the workshop of the mind, and where things were made of thought. Because remember, your thought is your seed. Likened to planting a seed in the ground and it grows. For us, it is our thought, because that's what grows, good, bad, or indifferent. So you must be careful of what you think. And then, of course, the fertilizer for you is what you say. And then, of course, when you write it, you sealed it. You sealed it, like as in the seals of Solomon. You sealed it, so it's sure to be. But it says that we use the square to measure all lines, to straighten out crooked places of the way, and make the corners of our conduct square. This is where you will circle around your passion in the square of your conduct. And remember, when you're going into courtrooms, etc., they say stand on your square, right? Because if you were to stand on your square right now, and with your feet properly positioned, it would give you proper posture immediately. Then we use the compass, which we showed to draw circles. Go to the circle around your passions. Around our passions and desires, to keep them in the bounds of righteousness. And then we use the axe, that's for you, to cut away the naughty, useless, and ungainly parts and make the character symmetrical. We use the hammer to drive home the truth, right? So when we drive home the truth, sometimes we'll hear stuff and we may see we've done that. Well, it has to be driven in. It's the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is the light. So my light, what you need to be illuminated with you may not be the same as what I need or the person next to you, or however, all of us still, the light will fill in the parts that you need it to fill. So your truth may not be my truth today or tomorrow or someone else's, because we're all developing into to become better muscles. Now, we use the plane to smooth the rough, uneven surfaces of joint and block and board, and that go to build the temple for that truth. And the temple is the body. Back to the mothers, the temple is the body. You're building the temple soul of man's temple. That's the body. We use the chisel, the line, the plummet, and the saw all have their uses in the workshop of the mind, and then this ladder with its trinity of steps, faith, hope, and love. On it we climb up to the dome of purity and light, and on the 12-step ladder we ascend until we reach the pinnacle of that which life is spent, of that which your life is spent to build the temple of the perfected man. Back to the system. You are the great architect that built Solomon's temple. Now, we're talking about that we're also the law. I don't know if you can see this photo. I'm sure you've seen it, because we want to talk about justice. We want to talk about law. Can you pretty much see the scales?
Yes, we can see it.
You see it's a sister, right?
Yes.
Right. She's standing on the books of knowledge, right? And she's standing on the books of knowledge, and she has a sword in her hand, and she has a blindfold on. And the serpent, right. Now, you ever thought why someone would have a sword with a blindfold? Wouldn't that be kind of scary? You ever thought about that? Yeah, it is. Right, and his sister too, right? It sounds dangerous. But, right, see, truth and justice doesn't need to see with the fleshy eyes. So, when the sword comes down, the sword of truth comes down, and if it cuts you, it's meant for you, and if it cuts me, it's meant for me. So, we don't need to see, but we know that justice is done at all times. And it is absolutely based on what you do that it comes back to you. Now, I want to reserve some of this information. Well, yeah, I do want to say this. Do you have many people there, brothers, of course, because those are the ones who usually join Masonic orders? Do you have people that have questions regarding Masonic orders?
Are there any?
No?
No.
Oh, well, all right, then we won't have to necessarily go there then, because I just wanted to make the one point that Masonic or Mason is, it means my son, right? And so it's mother's son, because the only thing on the planet is a mother and her son. And this is why they take, so that means that you're born a Mason. And you don't need to join the hidden sacred groups to become one, because at that point you're going to do something, and we met a brother yesterday, we talked to him, called taking an oath to a demigod. And if you take an oath to a demigod, that you cannot even speak about what oath that was that you took. You can't even say the name, but you took the oath. Then in essence, what you've done is you dishonored your mother, and you taken an oath to a demi, lesser like God, and you got to be quiet and don't even say it. Can't even tell your brother, your sister, your wife, your mate, your children. So it's very simple. Honor thy mother and father so that the days on the earth plane will be lengthened. And when things like that occur, that is what they've done. But more importantly, when you really look at what's being taught, is the symbolism and ritualism of the mother and son of nature. That's all that it is. So it's being coveted. And the last thing that I want to go over before I go into anything else or answer any questions is we've had this thing about the bless and the bliss. Have y'all gotten that email all over the place dealing with the etymology of bless? We don't want to be blessed because it's bloodshed. Have y'all, has any of y'all received an email from that?
Elaborate.
I never heard that one yet, no.
Oh, all right. Let me put you a little bit there. Because everything comes back to mother. Everything comes back to the womb of the universe. And the manifestation of that is man, and that is she, and his arm, leg, arm, head, Allah. What happens with the blessed thing is they're saying, we don't want to be blessed because it means it's bloodshed. We did the etymology of bloodshed, and we don't want bloodshed. But what that actually is a ritualization. First of all, the word blessed and the definitions come from Middle English anyway, so we got to deal with the origins, and I'm not necessarily dealing with the etymology at this point other than bloodshed, what that is. And they say that blessed means bloodshed. The bloodshed, you've been blessed by your mother in the womb with the shedding of the ovum when you were being formed. So you're only blessed one time, and that's by her in that respect. And then when you're born, you're also crowned. That's why the sisters in the room know that when you have deliveries, you know, have the head crowned.